So, Colin, I will shut up and hand over to you.
Great, thanks very much, Stuart, and thanks everyone for joining this evening. So yeah, as Stuart alluded to, I'm one of the customer success managers at BIP Solutions, and I'm really excited to show you this platform today, and I hope you'll all take something away from it. So what I'll do is first of all explain a little bit about BIP Solutions. So we've been on the go for 40 years. We're based just outside of the city centre in Glasgow. We run various portals, not just procurement platforms, we run portals for other companies as well. We do the one we're going to look at today, Tracker. We also run the Delta portal, and a lot of the public sector in the UK use Delta to write their tender notices. So because of that, we put them straight onto all of our platforms. We also have an events part of our company as well, and we run a few events up and down the UK. We do things like Procurex, which is the largest procurement event in the UK. We hold one in Liverpool. We also do one up here in Glasgow, and we also do one in Cardiff and also one in Dublin throughout the year. We also do health-related events as well. And we also do the local government expo, which some of you might be interested in. So all of these events are kind of designed to let suppliers network with the buyers. So we also run the consultancy side of the business as well. So we do have procurement consultants, and our consultants basically help public sector buyers, but also suppliers do business in the public sector. So that's part of what we do. So I think probably the best thing to do now, if I can maybe just change the screen and we'll go on to the actual platform itself. I can just, oh, sorry, just making it of that. Now, hopefully you can see the platform. Stuart, could you just confirm, can you see the Tracker platform? Yep, brilliant. Okay. Now,
yep, we've got that.
Thank you. So, what I'm going to do today is basically show you how to find the most relevant opportunities, or how you can find the most relevant opportunities, how you can access private sector leads as well, identify some spending trends, and also as well how you can gain actionable insights through the platform. Also, I'm going to show you can get some industry news through the platform as well. So what I was kind of thinking about doing is basically just taking you through the kind of what we would do with customers in terms of maybe potentially a construction related company. And quite often they come to us and their biggest kind of challenges are, you know, things like how do we get visibility of all relevant public sector and private sector contracts. So that's something that we can help with. They maybe come to us and ask as well if how they can be the main contractor or even subcontracting. And then moving it back to the kind of public sector side of things, they've maybe failed to win contracts previously. Maybe the feedback they've got from the buyer wasn't great. So again, that's something we can help with. And previously they've maybe been reactive to tenders, you know, just maybe waiting for them to come in. But this can help you be proactive. So let's take a little look at the system, and I'm kind of starting off here with the dashboard. Now, part of the, we would say, key part of working within public sector would be engaging earlier with the public sector. I mean, that could also be true as well for the private sector. But what the system allows you to do is set a reminder for any contract that you look at. So particularly if you've been looking at contracts that have been awarded previously, you might say you saw a contract was due to finish in 3 years' time. You might want to set a reminder on this system to contact the buyer maybe a year to 18 months beforehand, all part of the early engagement side of things. Yep.
Colin, the slide showing but the platform's not.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay. Sorry about that. Give me a second.
So we've got the tracker headline coming up, but the actual platform itself is not shown.
Oh, right, okay. Let me just stop that there, and I'll just go into that one. Right, hopefully you can see that now. The platform.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
Now we're
so
on cooking gas.
sorry about that. Right, okay, so what I was saying about early engagement, okay, so the system allows you to basically set a reminder for any contract you look at. And the idea behind it is so you can start engaging earlier with the correct people. Now, early engagement is a key part of, basically working within the public sector. Certainly now with new contract regulations coming out, certainly in England, the public sector authorities do expect suppliers to contact them, engage with them earlier, basically so they know what's out there, what suppliers can offer. Maybe a certain supplier can offer something that the current suppliers cannot. So that's certainly a key part of working within the public sector. And this, as I say, will allow you to set reminders. Each reminder you can change to every one of those, so you know exactly where you are with it. And then if we go down a little bit further, you've then got a graph letting you see the volume of the reminders that you've set. So for any public sector or private sector contract that you've set a reminder for, it will show here in the volume of the reminders. So pretty much this could be your pipeline for the next 12 months. Underneath it, you can then enter the most recent contracts from any of the profiles that you have set up. And then underneath that, you can also enter in some spend analysis on other buyers or suppliers. This basically gives you an overview of what potential competitors are doing in the public sector, how much they're receiving from them, and also who they're doing business with as well. So that's the spend analysis side of things. I will come back to that. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to go on to the commercial projects. Now, commercial projects, these are all private sector construction related leads. So you would get any planning project or non-planning project throughout the UK, or you can customise it, for just, for example, Scotland or maybe the northeast and the northwest of England. If you wanted to have that, you can filter it out that way as well. Now, we get these before they go out to tender to the main contractors. So, for example, if you were looking to maybe be the kind of main contractor, okay, so let's click here. And if we take student accommodation as an example, so this is a list of commercial projects, and you can see the stage we've got here, applications to tender or tender currently invited. So the main contractor hasn't been added to this yet. We've also got it at pre-tender stage as well. So you can see as well, there's various different values ranging from very large ones, going down to the kind of smaller, $250,000, 220,000. So if I wanted to view this one, I'll just click here. Okay, it breaks it down a little bit for me now, just confirming again the value of the project. It was first published on the system the 8th of July, and they expect the start date to be May next year. So it tells us whereabouts the work's taking place. And if I then click on contacts and bidders, I can then see the client, and there's one consultant that has been added as well. Now, if I move on to a different one, see the kind of difference in this one, for example. Again, where the work's taking place, for student accommodation, contacts and bidders. This time there's a lot of different architects and consultants have been added to this one. So if you were looking to be the main contractor on this one, for example, these would be the doors you'd be looking to knock. Along with them as well. Okay, so I'll come out of that. So that'd be looking at it, as I say, from a main contractor point of view. If I then go up to here, okay, so we've got these ones now. We're looking at the contractor's already been awarded, so maybe looking at it with the view of being a subcontractor. So student accommodation, as you're probably well aware, student accommodation is popping up everywhere, particularly in Glasgow. So this one here, just a little bit more about the project there. And we can see this is actually from Unite Students. Okay, so they're doing basically all of this work here, or looking for contractors to complete all of this work. And some of it you can see has already been completed, but looking at it there, you know, it's certainly all over the UK. Now, if I go down a little bit further, sorry, back up, I should say, go to contacts and bidders. Okay, so again, you've got a list here of architects, developers, project managers, etc. Again, looking at all of this, going down to the bidders. So this time it's Graham Construction. Okay, so a big construction company, offices throughout the UK. You then got the client. And again, just confirming they have won the contract for it as the main contractor. So if you were looking to do business, let's say, with Graham Construction to find out if there was any subcontracting opportunities available, you do have a contact there for them, but you might actually want to maybe look in the system to find out a little bit more about Graham Construction and see what kind of work that they're doing. So what I'll do now is if I just move up to here, and I'm just going to type in Graham Construction. Okay, back a few years. Now with this system, you can actually go back the last 5 years. So particularly if you're looking at awarded contracts, so much information that you can have, you know, just looking at this part of the system. So I've typed in Graham Construction, and okay, so it's brought me to here, but what I want to do is just filter this out. Okay, just click there, and I just want to see the commercial projects that they're involved in. So just click here. Okay, so these are all construction projects that Graham Construction are involved in. So for example, if I went to this one here, and then go to full contract, and if I scroll down, again, it's just giving me a little description of the scheme. Now, what I'm going to show you now, I would hope that you find this really interesting, because this is a great part of the system to have, because you'll now see, obviously, we've got the client details, we've got contact details, we've got architects, project managers, everything really, and it just confirms you've got Graham Construction there. So something like this, not only are you seeing, or it's confirming that Graham Construction are the main contractor on it, because you can see all the different contact details from things like, you know, the mechanical and electrical, ducting contractor, etc. You can contact these people directly. So if you're not successful with the project we were looking at, making contact with these people, networking with them, you know, really getting to find out about them, building those relationships with them would be key, because then that way they could potentially keep you in mind for another project further down the line, because you've built that relationship with them. So as I say, all okay via data protection to contact these people directly. Now, a lot of our clients that do have this actually just use it as lead generation because there's so much information on it for them to contact these people. Okay, so I'll come out of that one, go down a little bit further. And again, I can go into any one of these. Just another one again, up in Glasgow here. Sorry, it's the wrong page. Just come out of that there. Sorry, let's take on green construction again. Just change the date. Okay, so that was me looking at a list of all the private sector ones they've been involved with. However, what I'm going to do now is I'll just show you all of the awarded contracts they've got in the public sector. So I'm going to click there. So first of all, this is an infograph and it's letting me see the volume and the value of the contracts that Graham Construction have been awarded in the public sector going back to 2019. So we'll scroll down a little bit further. And what I'll do is I'll just put it in date range here. Okay, so it's pretty much just confirming all of the contracts that they are part of or have won in the public sector. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that early engagement is key. Okay, so I'm looking at all of these ones here. And in terms of, if I wanted to maybe say, well, look, it's construction, it's a framework, I maybe want to set a reminder to contact this buyer. So I'm going to click here. And the end date, sorry if you saw that, the end date in this one here is the 7th of March 2026. So I'll set a reminder. And let's say I want it for then. And I'm going to click and create reminders. So what that does, it puts it onto the dashboard for you. So you know you've always got it there. However, if you were to put your email address in there as well, it will also send a calendar invite to your email address. So basically, there's two ways that the system will remind you to contact a particular buyer. Okay, so another thing about this as well is if I go back into these commercial projects again, if I go to, let's see that one there. When you get into any of these, you can follow the contract. So if I click on this, what happens now is any update to this, the system will send you out that information directly. So whether a new contractor has been added or a QS has been added or something's just changed in the project, the system will let you know all about it. Okay, so far then, we've kind of looked at the private sector construction leads. Another part to look at then, if we, sorry, I'm just kind of jumping back here. If we go back to the Graham Construction side of things. Okay, so we've looked at the contracts they've won in the private sector and also the public sector. I maybe want a little bit more of a breakdown on that. So I'm going to go to this part of the system, which is called spend analysis. Now, this basically lets you view government spend data. So I don't know if you're aware, any central government buyer in the UK, if they spend £25,000 or more, they've got to publish what they spend that money on. So I don't know if you'll remember back, for those of a bit older like myself, back in 2010, there was a big kind of kick up because MPs were spending public money on things that they shouldn't be spending it on. So things like wallpaper, things like duck ponds, etc. That was all getting spent. It was all public money. So the government got out a transparency agenda. So basically, they said that any central government buyer has got to publish this information. So we've taken all that data and we've put it into the system, and it lets us search under one of these kind of headings here. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and we'll take Graham Construction.
Colin, just getting a question in there from Alec. Do you get leads from building surveyors or other consultants?
No, it would all be either a brand new project, in which case the client would come out with it, or it'd be a non-planning project, like a refurbishment project. So that's
Right,
the two
okay.
different types of leads that we get on the commercial projects. Okay, so I'm going to click on Graham Construction. Okay. And okay, I'll take it back to 2019. And if we hit search. Okay. So what it's telling me here is that well, in fact, in the last year, they've received £176,000 from the public sector. In this time period, from December 2019 to November 2024, there's 80 transactions against them. Transactions are basically invoices. In that time period, they received 16 million, and they've worked with 2 different buyers. Okay, so if I scroll down a little bit further, what it's then letting me see is the average over that time period, 12 months, is 267,000. The average over the last 5 years they've received is 263,000 per month. And this graph basically lets us see how much they have received in each month and how many invoices have been sent out. Now I can click here. Okay, so there's been one invoice for 845,000. I'll click on it. Okay, so what it's telling me here is that Graham Construction have sent an invoice for 845,000 to Devon County Council. And the buyers from Devon have said it was Infra Rep Construction main contract. So it's given us a breakdown of what these invoices were for. But then go there and scroll down a little bit further. We can then see there's been 59 invoices with Devon and 21 for Stockport Metropolitan Borough Council. So we can click here and see what a breakdown of those invoices were for. Now, obviously, I'm just doing this with Graham Construction, but if you can imagine using this yourself and putting in names of your competitors, finding out who they're doing business with, how much they're getting, or how much basically they're charging those public sector buyers. Now, could it be that, you know, if you were to look at it, you're maybe not charging enough, you're maybe charging too much, and I suppose that would help, you know, with how much you're going to fill in the tender documents. So that's just doing it one way of looking at a supplier. We can do it another way in terms of a buyer. Sorry, can you search leads for new builds flats for a private client? Yeah, we can do that. So I'll just do that now. Okay, so commercial projects. I'll just type in new build. Just put you in there. And from here, you can choose the different stages. And one of those, you do early planning, plans approved, pre-tender, so there wouldn't be any contractor on it. Sorry, just another one there from Andy. I didn't quite see that there, it just went away, sorry.
Yeah, Andy's saying, so you've got the one from Rohit. Rohit's asking, can you search leads for new build flats or private clients? That's what you're doing just now. Andy's saying in the past ones, are the figures paid to contract the tenders and public to view on it? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Andy. In the past ones, the figures paid to the contractors tenders public to view on it. Do you mean is that kind of in the public domain? Is it just on this platform? Maybe just clarify that one a wee bit. On the platform. Yes, so I would say those figures are pretty much only on the platform. Yes.
Well, the spend analysis figures, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, this is all from the public domain, because the central government buyers, they've got to publish everything from £25,000 and above. So they do put it out in the public domain. They sometimes put it in the most obscure places on their websites. So trying to get it could be not the best. So basically what happens is our research team will go through all the said websites that we can get basically our hands on, and the spend analysis side of things is updated 3 times a week from our research team.
Excellent.
So okay, so
going back to what Rohit was asking there, Colin.
Yeah.
It looks like that you've got some pretty good search tools there for private clients. You can get stuff it's in for planning, it's pre-planning. It seems to be that you can get it from pretty much all stages.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So if we go to the stages here, just to clarify, these are the different stages. So depending on what you do as a company, I mean, if it's construction, great. You maybe want to go in as the main contractor, the subcontractor. If it's not construction, what you need to bear in mind with all of these commercial projects is there's always going to be a call really for really any type of business, because once the building's been built, who paints it? Who puts the wiring in? Who supplies the laptops? Who supplies the furniture? Who maintains that building? Cleaning the windows? Who does the landscaping? So there's always going to be a call for. It's very rare there's not a call for any type of business to actually go into one of these commercial projects. So even though it won't state, for example, on it that they're looking for laptops or for office furniture, there will be a call for it, and that's where you would get these contact details, from these commercial projects to contact either the client or the kind of end user of the building. So yeah, sorry, these are the different kind of stages, for it. So you can select one of these, so we're going to say maybe pre-tender, and we're looking for new build and flats. You can then select the region, wherever you want them to come from. So let's say we do Scotland, North East and North West, and then click on complete, and then just hit search. So up in Oban, if we then go there, so before we go, scheme price, demolition of existing guest house, there's construction of a new building containing 4 flats. Okay. Contacts and bidders. So we've got architect there, and it's a Mrs. McKinnon. So she must be demolishing something. Sorry, another one came through there. I didn't quite see it. Another question, I'm sorry.
Callum is asking, is there a cost associated with submitting tenders?
Through platforms or using BIP?
Not quite sure. So I think what maybe Callum, I think if I'm correct, Callum, for you to submit a tender to the kind of awarding authority, no, there wouldn't. I don't think there'd be a cost for that. The only cost you would have obviously is to BIP, which Colin will probably cover later. Is that what you were asking, Callum? Is there, if you were actually going for a tender, is there a cost for submitting that? I would say, am I correct in saying, Colin, that's pretty much rare. There's no cost to submit a tender.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The only time I've ever heard anything like that is actually from further afield, out with the UK.
Yeah. However, Callum, your time is your most valuable resource. Right? There's no cost to submit a tender, but you've got to consider your time, which is important.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so I've showed the kind of private sector side of things. Please keep questions coming, or we'll stop probably in 15 to 20 minutes, so we'll have Q&A at the end of it. But please keep them coming. What I want to do now is I just want to show you the public sector side of things. Okay, so good thing about this platform is you can have unlimited profiles. The profiles are what really delivers the contracts out to you. You basically enter the products and the services that you provide. Every morning, the system filters out the contracts that are relevant to you, going by the keywords you have in your profile. So you can see how many I've got set up here, for all sorts of different things. So let's take a little look at this. So as if you're a main contractor looking to on maybe some kind of frameworks. Okay, so we've got this here. So we can see we've got the title of the contract, who the buyer is. So excuse me, we've got the value of the contract and the deadline, which is in 2029. The publication date, just 9 days ago. So if we want to view it, I'm going to click here and click on full contract. So this being a public sector contract, we can then see we've got buyer's details there. Okay, you then got a description of what they're looking for. Now, this one here is actually a dynamic purchasing system. Now, a dynamic purchasing system is pretty much like a framework agreement, except it's not closed. Framework agreements, when they're on, are a closed shop. Dynamic purchasing systems, you can actually go on them at any time. That's a really good thing about them. There isn't usually a limit to how many suppliers can go into a dynamic purchasing system. Now, if we go down a little bit further, so it's giving us a little bit more information about it. With all these public sector contracts, completely different from the private sector side of things. So you're really making contact with the architects, the QSs, the clients, with the private sector. Public sector different, because if I'm interested in this contract, I need to go to this website, and I would need to register on the website if I'm not already registered on it. I would then get the tender documents from there, and I would also apply via that website as well. So you'll probably find about 95% of the contracts, all public sector contracts in the UK, you will have to go to a different website and apply for it, via that website. What Tracker does, it aggregates all of the public sector tenders for you and sends them directly to your email address each morning. So this one here is a main contractor framework, and it was split into different lots and different areas as well. So for example, there you can see down the side all the different values, then of course all the different regions as well, which also covers Scotland, North East and North West of England. Okay. So that's what we need to do if I wanted to apply for that one. Now, if I just go back and I'll run that search again, and there. So what I want to do is I want to go a little bit, I want to go further back, because I'm thinking now to, being proactive for these public sector contracts as opposed to reactive. So if I go to edit, and I just want to go back a little bit further and hit search. And then I'm going to go to awarded contracts. So from here, again, it's an infograph based on what I'm searching for over the last 5 years, and let me see the volume and the value of these contracts. I'm going to put it in date order. So what will happen now is the contract is due to finish, the most furthest away gets put to the top of the page. We can see who the buyer is again, but we can also see who the supplier is. So we can see straight away who's won this contract. So there's quite a lot of big companies in there. And, in terms of early engagement, again, what I want to do is go through all of these contracts, which I can also export onto a spreadsheet if I want to, just by clicking there. I want to go through this, and I want to start setting reminders. I want to start building my pipeline of opportunities, for the future. So scroll down, and let's just say I want to look at this one here. Okay, so this is relevant for me, so I want to set a reminder. And I'll set that reminder. Let's see, when's that one? March 26. So we'll do March 25. Okay, so the reminder's now been set for me. What I might also want to do is store this one in the system. So I'm going to shortlist it. Anything I shortlist is stored over here for me. And it's a good way of going through the system and storing these contracts in there, because you can always refer back to it at a later time. Now, looking at some of this, if I then click on here and then full details, it's going to give me, again, details about a contract. And what I should have mentioned when we were looking at the one earlier, a lot of this might seem, well, what is this? There's a lot of work to do to this. There is a lot of work to do with it. This is when our consultancy arm comes in with it. So the consultancy part of BIP Solutions is called PASS, which stands for Procurement Advice and Support Service. So over the years, we have helped thousands of private sector companies basically win work in the public sector. Now, our consultants have got different packages available, and they are all designed to help suppliers win work in the public sector. So whether you need training or help to fill in the tender documents, that's something they can help with. Whether you would just like an additional resource to basically check the tender documents before you submit them, that's something that they can do as well. But basically, what they would do, I suppose, really, for want of a better word, they would critique the tender document that you have filled in and basically say, yeah, that's good, or no, that needs to be elaborated on. Now, we won't ever say that we'll actually write a full bid for you. We try to stay away from that, and the reason being is that nobody knows your business like you. Okay, so our consultants won't ever admit to being experts in what you do, because you are the expert. So they would basically sanity check all of these forms, make sure they're tender ready and they're good to actually submit to the public sector authority. So that's just one kind of package that they do. It's called bid support, but they've also got other packages as well. So if you have encountered failure previously for filling in the tender documents, they can take your tender documents apart and basically say, right, okay, well, we think you should have said this, or, you could have done better there. They'll also look at all of the things like, your environmental policies, any kind of policy that you've got in place. They will, go through them all and update them if need be. So there's always help there. So, that's something that we can do. We can set up, calls with the consultants at any time as well, if you'd like to speak to them. And they would be able to, run through everything with you. So that's something that we can offer. So you probably see, looking at the platform today, that's one side of it, and it just kind of follows on if you need any help with the tender side of things. And whether that be private or public, then that's something that they can help with. So all kind of follows on from one. So, back to this one now. So this is Newcastle City Council. Okay, and we can see they've awarded this contract to Springs Roofing Limited. And it's just confirming the values and the contract end dates. So again, what I'm going to do is I want to find a little bit more about this Springs Roofing, because if they put this framework back out again, which more often than not they will, I know I'm going to be up against, Springs Roofing. So I want to find a little bit more information about them. So what I'm going to do is go back up to here, and we're going to go to spend analysis again. And I'm going to go to buyers, suppliers, and Springs Roofing. Okay. And I'll take us back a couple of years. Say, yeah, let's go to 2022. We'll hit search. So again, from here, what we're seeing is that's how much they've received in the last year. So 4.4 million. We're down a little bit further. That's how many invoices they've been paid. In that 2-year period, they've received 9 million in total. They've worked with 7 different buyers. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so their top buyer is Newcastle upon Tyne City Council, and that's actually equating to 50% of all of those transactions. And the top invoice transaction, most of them, 51% of them, have been for is responsive maintenance. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit further, and we can then see the averages over the last 5 years compared to the last 12 months. Over the last 12 months, they've actually increased their income by nearly 9%. And then if I scroll down a little bit further, okay, and this is a bit of an eye-opener now, because what I can see is that the contract was from Newcastle upon Tyne City Council, but look at all the different buyers in that area that they're doing business with. So they're obviously very big in there. So that might make me think twice about if that contract does come out, do I really want to maybe apply for it? Because obviously they've got really good relationships with all of these public sector authorities. So looking at it, you can hopefully try and get an idea, is it worth it? Probably not, because of the kind of relationships they've got with all of them in that area. And we can click on any one of these as well, and we can get what the invoices was for. And of course, you get invoice dates there as well. This is all exportable, so you can put all of these invoices onto a spreadsheet as well, if you like. Now, something happened there. Okay, right. Now the pie chart just kind of gives you an idea of how much from each of these. Another thing we could do as well, we could look at Newcastle upon Tyne. And we'll go here. To see if they're involved with any other suppliers construction-wise. So I'm going to click here, click and complete. Okay, so I'll take us back the same kind of time scale as well, back to 2022. We'll hit search, and it takes us through here. So this time it flips it about, so it lets me see how much they've spent in the last year. So 617 million. Over the same kind of 2-year period, they spent 1.2 billion. They've been involved with over 4,000 different suppliers. Oh, right, okay. So redacted personal data, right, okay. So you'll see this from time to time. So this is basically people opting out through GDPR, or it might be commercially sensitive as well. Thereby, they won't give the suppliers details. But that accounts for 3.4% of everything in that timescale. You can also see as well, over the kind of 5-year average, they're increased by 8.7%. And then a list of all of the different suppliers, who they're doing business with. Now, what I could then do is go to all industries. And if I want to view construction and property, and there we go, Springs Roofing is actually second. So I think that just confirms it for me. If I was looking at it, I'm thinking, right, no, I wouldn't go for that contract when it comes out. So it's going to help me shape my decision on that straight away. That being said, if I did want to maybe contact Newcastle, what I can do is go to this part here. And this is the contact decision makers database. So this is a database, we've got over 84,000 different contacts on it. This is all people who work within the public sector. But because this is Newcastle, it's taking me on to Newcastle. And what I can then do is click here on the job function. So if I'm looking to speak to someone maybe from the procurement side of things, I'll click here. And as we can see, we've got a name, we've got the job title, I've got an email address as well. So I can contact these people directly. So it's just another way that you can start engaging earlier with public sector authorities. And really, again, trying to build this pipeline of contracts for the future. Now, just kind of conscious about time, so I'm going to go into the kind of final part of this, which is here. Now, what this system will do as well is give you intelligence. It's market intelligence, and what happens is our research team, they will go through things like newspaper websites and industry websites, and they get all of the news stories, they put them onto the system, and then they're delivered out to you the following day. So the idea behind it really is to keep you up to date with what's going on in your industry. So if I scroll down, let's try this one. You can see there. Yep, so new student accommodation being built. And just come at that one again. Just run that and let you see the other part because it's split into two. So if you get market intelligence, which is more about what's happening here now, whereas this one here, market leads, is a little bit different. It's giving you more of a kind of heads up, if you like, of something that's going to happen in the future. So for example, and this part is great, when you look at it, if you're a construction company and you're seeing this, okay, being recommended to approve the application. So having access to this, you think, right, great. Well, you know what? I'm going to look out for that. In fact, I'm going to contact KR Developments, and you can put KR Developments into the system to see what other contracts they put out and get contact details from them as well. So heads up. So as I say, market intelligence, what's happening here now, market leads, something that's going to happen in the future. And of course, it tells you where we got the information from as well. So again, a really good way of building a pipeline of opportunities for the future. So as I say, yeah, we can put KR Developments in there, contact details, etc. as well, if you want to do that. But as I say, quite kind of conscious of time, because we've only got to 7 o'clock. So I think that's a kind of brief overview of the system. What I would like to say as well, that if any of you do decide that you wanted to, come on board with the tracker portal, you would get a customer success manager, whether it be myself or one of my colleagues, and we would help and support you throughout the lifetime of the subscription. Basically, we want to make sure that you do get a return on the investment you've made in the platform. And if anyone that's on today would say, are thinking about it, you can actually get 10% off as well. So I do have another slide here, and I just can't seem to get it on. Let me just try that again. Sorry, there we go. Is that it? Share that one. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully you can see that. So, yeah, any other questions at all? Anything you'd like to ask me, or anything you'd like me to kind of go over again?
That's been really great. Good, Colin. I was really quite surprised there on the depth of the intelligence side of it. From a subcontractor point of view, you can go and look at the main contractor, and then you've got all the contact details. That there's loads of it. So first question there comes from Nathan, right? Alex put a cheeky one there. Nathan's come in and put cost, and Alex came in and put free trial question mark.
Right, okay, so okay, the cost one. Okay, so the system starts at 3,000. Okay, and it goes all the way up, goes all the way up to about 12 grand, really. It really depends what you want and what you see value in having the subscription. So for just access to the public sector contracts and the commercial projects, that's 3 grand. If you wanted to spend analysis on top of that, it's then putting it up to about 4,200. In terms of a free trial, yes, we could do a 3-day trial. However, on that trial, it would just be a basic trial. You wouldn't get access to things like the contact decision makers database or the commercial projects, the private sector side of things. So it would just be a 3-day, basically public sector and spend analysis.
And can that be done as a monthly subscription, Colin?
That all depends on, it's going to sound like a cop out, but believe me, it's not. It all depends on finance. Our finance department is basically them that makes the decisions on that. So what I would ask is, if I can get in contact with you, if you want to leave your details, I can ask finance and see if that can be done.
Okay. So there we go. Colin's contact details are there. So if anyone wants to reach out to Colin directly, contact details are there and phone number. Anybody else get any other questions? Either shout out or stick in the chat box. Any other questions? So we now know what the cost is. We now know there is a kind of free trial if you talk nicely, Alec. What is there a more in-depth on the website, Colin? Is there more of a sort of in-depth kind of demo for people to go and kind of play about a bit?
No, there isn't anything like that available, Stuart. Basically, what's happening is if you want a more in-depth demo, then that's something I would do. So if you want a more personalised demo, let me know and we'll get that arranged for you.
There you go. So if you want to know, because obviously Colin just skimmed over the surface quite a bit, there's a hell of a lot of data. I must admit, I'm quite surprised just how in depth that can actually go. Because one of the things I was thinking was, well, if you can get this free on public procurement websites and whatnot, but you don't get anything like that.
No.
You get the tender and that's it. What amazed me was how in depth you can go with these tenders in the future, which is gold. I also think that being able to go and look at previous pricing histories and whatnot as well is also gold. But what you also highlighted there, Colin, which I thought was really interesting, was that roofing one. Is it worth even going for these? These guys are ingrained there. Is it worth even going for that? So I like the intelligence. I like the intelligence sound of it. And Andy's come back and went, that's great, about the demo. So again, if anybody wants to go in a little bit more in depth, then just email Colin or give him a call. Anybody else get any other questions? Any other questions at all? Or we will wrap up and go and get some food. No, don't think there's any other questions come in. Anything else you want to finish up with, Colin?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for their time tonight. And yeah, please do get in contact. I'm quite sure we can, work together over the next coming years and hopefully try and win business. That's what it's all about.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for that, Colin. Really appreciate that. Thanks everybody else for joining us. You've got Colin's details there. I'll also email everybody tomorrow as well and give Colin I give you Colin's details so that you've got them. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks again, Colin. That was an absolute eye-opener into the world of public and private procurement. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night.
Take care. Thanks now. Cheers.
Yeah.